Hello, welcome to Ikate's Crossing. Okay, so the Native American Tarot. Now, it does have a companion book, which I totally recommend if you can get a copy of it, no matter what tarot deck you've actually got, especially if you have this one in particular. But it has got some really good info in the book besides what the cards mean. It can give you another alternative information, because it does give you quite a lot of an aspect of that in the traditional sense of what the cards could mean, as well as a little bit behind their background. And then it also gives you spreads and things like that, but it does give you this section called meditation with the major arcana. So I'm just going to read this for you. So take a nice deep breath. Leave my glasses on so I can read. It says, tarot meditations are a great tool. They can be used specifically and topically by asking simple questions to the divinatory element in the reader, or deeper insights come from sitting in silence with the image of a particular card for long periods of time. Janine Parvati. Okay. Meditation, or going into the silence, is a part of everyday life. We try to set aside the same time every day to do our meditations. Some people like to work at sunrise, sunset, noon, or when the moon is at its zenith. It is not the clock as much as it is our inner bells that tell us it's meditation time. We each meditate alone at the medicine wheel on our land, in our bedroom, or even in a hot bath. Meditation can be done anywhere that is comfortable and solitary. Sometimes a pipe, smoke, burn incense, have music playing, or at night light a candle. Meditating on the tarot is going within ourselves and finding the message each card has to give. You may find it helpful to keep a journal of your own impressions when meditating on the tarot. The colour, incense, and affirmation given at the end of this section for each higher arcana card help focus the meditation. An affirmation is a way to manifest essence into the world of form by awakening subconscious power. The power is within. It is the power of the universe. It starts as a small ember and grows to a raging power. It works for you and through you. It is your tool to control, or it will control you. If you study long and hard learning to control the power, you learn to control yourself and your emotions. You will still feel the emotions, such as anger, resentment, jealousy, and so on, but you will learn to bank the fires and use the accumulated energy for your own good and the good of others. If you let the power control you, it will eat you up as acid eats the vessel that holds it. Power is not evil unless the person who uses power loves it for its own sake and not for how it can benefit the life force. Says, it is understandable, though, that some people find the power fearful when they are touched by it. The feeling is akin to being two people at once, of being outside ourselves, looking in at our true selves. It is awesome to see ourselves as we truly are, for we all have secrets we try to hide, even from ourselves. In that way, we also grow more loving and accepting of others, because often we hate in others is what we fear most to find in ourselves. Love of self, fearless understanding, is an ongoing process. It takes time and patience and practice, for we are only human, and the perfection is not a human condition. Beware the one who thinks that he or his cause is perfect. He will tend to become dictatorial and corrupt the power he holds so dear. And corrupt the power he holds so dear. The power has many faces, and each is seen differently by each of us, for we colour what we see by our own emotions. That is why humans need ceremony and ritual. Over the ages, we have become blocked by our emotions. We need to awaken our 5 mundane senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch, before we can awaken the 6th sense. It is the 6th sense that will let us travel through the cards to find our own meanings in them, and to find the meaning, the power in ourselves as well. To this end, we prepare for meditation. Meditation ceremonially is not a passive state of being. On one level or another, it is listening for the answer to our prayers from the great mystery, universal deity, God, whatever, Jehovah, whatever you whoever you say is your universal deity. Getting in touch with our higher selves and bringing ideals from the subconscious to the conscious. These are active states, and action brings reaction. Work with the higher arcana of the tarot parts working with the higher arcana of the tarot parts avail. It opens a gate between the world of form and the world of the middle mist. In the middle mist, anything can happen, and thus the first rule of meditation is self-protection. The protection ritual we use is the following pattern. So cleanse your body, cleanse your space, cleanse your tools, set your protective wards, surround yourself in a protective light, do some breathing exercises, give yourself a lifeline, and listen to your inner bell. Okay, so these are some suggestions, okay? These are just some suggestions to cleanse the body, bathe in warm or hot water, dissolve a cup of salt in a cup of strong sage tea. While relaxing in the tub, you can sip another cup of sage tea, this one mixed with honey. After the bath, burn the sage as incense, clean yourselves with smoke, then put on clean clothing. To cleanse the space, make sure the place of ceremony is neat and clean and natural, and cleanse the area with sage smoke. To cleanse the tools, wave over sage smoke over cards, candles, table, altar, and so on. There are many ways to set the protective wards, okay, depending on your own deity, okay, or your own rituals, your own beliefs, your own thoughts in regards to that, okay. In Native American tradition, simply but reverently offer sage smoke to the grandparents of the four directions, to the Father Sky and Mother Earth. The protective light is raised by visualizing ourselves surrounded in an opalescent light like the aurora borealis. You could as easily use a bright white or a blue light or whatever color rings your inner bell. We affirm that no negative vibrations can penetrate our light, and that we are working for the highest good, accepting only positive help. The breathing exercises comprise each deep breath. Each one is let out slowly, and during the breath we relax and center ourselves. So we do that 8 times. The lifeline is our own color and vibrational tone, which we send out to a familiar object, plant, or animal. The shamanistic device can be seen as a mental colored line to secure us to our physical selves in the outer world. Listening to the inner bell is something that only can be understood in practice. It means, in one sense, that if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. In a more positive sense, your inner bell, the trustworthy voice of your inner self, will guide you in creating your own rituals that enhance your spiritual development. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let us choose one card that we're going to meditate on today. Let's have a look. Okay, what major arcana card are we going to meditate on today? What do we need to reflect on in regards to the major arcana? So let's have a look. What are we going to reflect on today? And the card, we're looking at death. So we're looking at transformation and changes going on in our life. We're looking where things need to end or things need to begin. Let's have a look. What happens if I actually turn that off? That is too dark. Let's move this light. So it's there. Right, so let's have a look at the death card. Look what it says. Okay, so if you want to, you can use frankincense and myrrh as your scent. You can use the colour deep purple. So find something that's deep purple around you. Maybe a piece of fabric or a card. Maybe you've got the colour cards. You could use that deep purple. Okay, the meditation is: I walk as one with the cycle of life. And your affirmation is: I face death unafraid, for each ending is a new beginning. So take a moment, take a breath. You've got your incense lit. You've got your colour with you, for an example. Let's have a look. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, which is what you're going to do now. I should have done this before. So you're just going to take a moment, take a breath, keep breathing. And you're going to find that colour purple, that deep purple. Okay, so this is going to take a second. Glasses on so I can see. Okay, so I've got violet there. Let me have a look and see what purples I've got. Oh, there we go. There's a dark indigo. I don't want lavender. That'll be too light, won't it? So I'm not quite sure what else they've got. I don't want lavender. Oh, he has got a deep purple there. I don't want mauve. That's too light as well. So there we go. So I've got 3 purples here. I think the violet could be a bit light. Indigo, maybe a bit lighter. Maybe the dark, maybe that purple there. So I'm going to use that as for my meditation. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through my mouth. And I'm going to think about, I walk as one with the cycle of life. So you want to repeat to yourself, I walk as one with the cycle of life. I face death unafraid, for each ending is a new beginning. Remember, we're talking about transformation, changes, we're moving through transitions, metamorphosis, those things that talk about transmutation, anything that talks about changes and things going on in your life. That's what we're thinking about here. I walk as one with the cycle of life. I face death unafraid, for each ending is a new beginning. So that's today's card. Death, transformation, changes. So let's have a look a little bit further at what this card, let's have a look here at what the book says. Oh, they have an Ojibwa death song. Manuni na ningamaja. Manuni na ningamaja. O a o da na win e minga. Di jama nune na nin gama janin a o dana win enin gadija. There is no death, only a change of worlds. Chief Self called Seattle, Salish Curtis in 1968. The death card has retained its number and basic image throughout the metamorphosis that time and history have wrought upon the tarot. It is almost ironic proof of the adage that the only constant is change. Some tarot scholars have traced the origin of the image to the Black Death, the bubonic plague which swept through medieval Europe and gained a perverse popularity with artists and writers. The card's traditional image is unique as it is wholly democratic. Even the Wheel of Fortune shows that some men are more equal than others, though the wheel turns equally for all. On virtually all decks, whatever the motive, all are equal before death's scythe. Monarch, clergy, man, woman, and child. To a novice, this is probably the scariest of all of the trumps, but fear comes of ignorance. There are myriad myths about gods of the dead, guardians of death's doors, fairy men, and goddesses who help the deceased cross over to the land of the dead. All contribute in some way to the death's trump's interpretations, but the skeleton, which illustrates the decay of flesh to bone, is more than an antique death image. If one considers the shamanic origins of the tarot, the contemporary interpretation of the card, change or transformation may be more truth than wishful thinking. In the pictograph of shamanic initiation, that is the higher arcana, death represents the all-important second step on the shamanic journey, the steps that give the journey the name Little Death. The card's mundane mundane importance is also to be respected, though. The old men tell us that everything they see changes a little during a man's natural lifetime, and that when change comes to any created thing, it must accept it, that it cannot fight, but must change. Miles, 1985. The little death is one of the most universal features in shamanic initiation. The initiate experiences the devastating illusion of his body being reduced to a skeleton. Flesh is consumed magically, boiled off in a cauldron, scorched off by flame, or simply ripped off by malevolent spirits. The sun dance initiatory participant has taken the first step towards the goal of illumination by binding the self physically, spiritually, and morally to the goal in preparation for being led before the otherworld gods. The underworld deities, the initiate is stripped bare of any and all pretensions. In a reading, death can refer to a preoccupation with death, or it can mean the querent is at a point where self-delusion, now gone, is no longer a hindrance. It can mean change, a deep-seated purgative change, through which the ego is laid bare and stripped off cliches and old values in preparation for the new. For every death there is a birth to fill the void, and vice versa. It is a natural and spiritual law that the spiral movement forms a never-ending chain of events. Each link a death, each link a birth, the whole a history. On death, the skeletal figure dressed in the garb of a Spanish haciendado, a rancher mourns over the remains of a buffalo in the sun-parched courtyard of a deserted hacienda, a ranch. The coming of the first whites, the Spanish with their horses, marked the beginning of the glory that was the Great Plains Indian. The Plains people were no more typically Native American than the man in the moon. They were rather a conglomerate of dying, disposed cultures that had a new birth with the adaptation of the white man's horse to the new mode of existence, the focal point of which was the great buffalo herds of the plains. When the whites came to the northwest, the ceremonies were held, and the priests, poets, and all the other people rallied. But the old ones did not hear, nor was their power released against the bearded, round-eyed giants. The councils gathered and told all that the magic was not gone, nor were the old ones angry. It was simply the time. It was time for movement, time for expansion, time to do as the trees do each season. Move the seeds on the wings of the wind of change. The conquistadors came with their horses, and the Aztec world died. Some of the horses escaped to the north, and the plain tribes were born. The gringos, the Americans, came, and all that the conquistadors built fell apart. The great herds of buffalo were killed off, and the plains people were no more. The initiate's journey, the little death, is another example of the cycle of death and rebirth. The soul's abandonment of the body during the ecstatic state, brought on by the sun dance or by some other physical deprivation, is spiritually equivalent to the death state. The shaman is one who can die many times at will. The shamanic initiation requires many ordeals and teachings through which the adept learns not only the techniques of death and resurrection, but also what to do when on the other side, when the soul has abandoned the body, within the ecstatic regions of the unknown. The adept learns how to act as a spirit, how to fly, become invisible, see things at a great distance, see souls and guardians and totems and capture them, or simply negotiate with them. The ritual death is a manifestation of the transcendental condition, the leaving of the profane, mundane, human condition. The initiative attains this condition by many means: narcotics, the drum, the beneficent possession by spirits, as well as sensory deprivation. Carlos Constantenda, Lynn Andrews, Michael Hanna, Mircea Eliade, all are eloquent about the other dimension, the separate reality that only warriors or hihokis or shamans can reach. There is a portal within ourselves that ordinarily remain occult, hidden and secret, until the moment of death. The Huchol call it Narika, a cosmic interface between this world and the other world, between ordinary and non-ordinary realities. It is both a passageway and a barrier. The initiative learns to open and pass through this portal. says badly aspected. That is with certain cards such as mourning around it. Death can mean just that. But the essence of the card is transformation, alteration, and change. Explained another way, when the environment becomes intolerable, physical or spiritually, the element under attack readily subjects itself to change. Okay, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care and blessed be.